Welcome to July, ranchers, July 2020. One of the most difficult challenges, whether it's July or any other month of the year, a challenge in life is learning not to take things to heart and hold on to it with a tight grip, taking things on emotionally so personally. While working with middle schoolers, which, by the way, is my favorite age group to work with in schools, I developed quickly some talking points to deal with hurt feelings because most of my days at school, I would have at least one student just emotionally distraught, sharing how their life was totally over due to some hurt feelings. And by the way, guys, this wasn't only the girls. Especially though when we're younger, or if we're the sensitive type, and I tend to be, we take so much of what comes our way, right to heart. And this, of course, can be overwhelming and unproductive if it throws us off balance, especially if it throws us off on a regular basis. When we're feeling criticized or attacked, everywhere we look from all directions, it becomes very difficult for us to recover ourselves so that we can continue to enjoy our present moments in life. It's like the attack just takes over and we're no longer present. We're just thinking nonstop about either how bad it hurts, or if we're a revengeful type of person, how we're going to get back, or what did they really mean, and who knows, and what are they going to think? And it just starts to snowball. And this is when we would do well to remember that old saying of letting certain things just roll off our backs, like water off a duck's back. I'm sure you've heard that too. And with my young middle schoolers, most of the time, the attacks and criticisms of others have much more to do with the criticizer and how they are feeling about themselves rather than the person they're criticizing. But I find it's true not just with adolescents, but also with adults. I don't know about you, but I have found myself getting caught up in just trying to adjust myself to other people's negative energy, and then I lose touch with my core. It's especially true if the criticism seems to be coming from someone who loves us or a good friend, because in other words, you think they really know us. They should know better than to be flinging those arrows. And this is when we would do well to remember perhaps that old saying about water off a duck's back. Now, if that works for you, that's great. But working with adolescents, I found that the saying was, well, I'm just maybe too old. It was really tough for them because they don't have that cognitive ability yet to take their emotions and look at it logically. And so it's really tough to just say, well, I'll just let go. So I had this stuffed rhino in my office, and I was looking for it because I was thinking it might be here, but it wasn't. Because I wanted to show it to you and actually let you hear it grunt, because it had this cute grunting sound that even my most mean-looking gang wannabeers or gang members, when they'd hear it grunt, they had to react. Not always in a cute way, but they always did react. So I had this stuffed rhino, and sharing back and forth with the student, I could discover, but I wanted them to discover on their own, really what is the protection of a rhino. And in a rhino in the wild, well, they have this really thick, very thick, tough skin that helps them prevent predators from injuring them, from hurting them. Yes, they have the horn up front to charge, and that's also something that they use to defend. But, darts or spears that would be thrown at them, like criticism or hurtful words, isn't going to be able to easily penetrate that skin that they have. So the more we would talk, kids would realize that those darts that are being flung at them, well, they really belong to the thrower. They don't belong to them. In fact, with their thicker skin, they can just let them bounce off, boing off, go, back where they came from. And they can learn. And they did, to allow the darts of criticism and negativity to just bounce off a tougher and thicker skin. Now, it's not easy to develop a tougher and thicker skin. And I can say now, without a doubt, that just life and life experience has thickened my skin too over the years. And I really didn't realize, ranchers, but back then that was actually a mindful living moment before I even knew what mindfulness was. You see, being present with and what hurts, that's being mindful. Being present with the criticism or mean words and realizing that these spears or darts or arrows, they don't belong to us. And they're not who we are. In fact, we can learn to dodge and deflect other people's misdirected negativity. And like any other habit, like any other thing we are trying to train and get muscle memory and brain memory for, the more we do it, the more we're able to discern when these darts and things come at us, what belongs to us and what belongs to other people. In conversations that are shared and discussed, there are things that often belong to us. But oftentimes in these particular situations, when there's criticism and hurtful arrows being flung, unless we're doing it also to the other person, but I'm talking about just being able to defend what's coming at you, most of the time it doesn't belong to us. It belongs to that other person. And so with practice, we become like masters of our own energetic integrity, refusing to serve as targets for this disowned anger and frustration of the people or the person around us. The good news for my young mentees back then and for all of us today, eventually we'll be able to hear the feedback. We won't be defensive. We won't be having to dodge. We'll actually hear the feedback that others have to offer, taking in anything that might actually be constructive, even if it's on the edge, and releasing that which has nothing to do with us. So this week's pause, as our country celebrates Independence Day, allow joy and beauty to hit and dwell in your heart, doing your best that you can do to let the negativity bounce off without even leaving a mark. Stay safe and be well.